everyone? It's Monday evening. It's time for a fresh edition of Weather for Weather Geeks, the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast. We talk about the short term, we talk about the medium range, we talk about the long range as well. And tonight we're going to talk a little bit about February, which is a couple of weeks away, I know, but a lot of people are asking me about the rest of winter because January looks like it's kind of going down the drain in terms of any sort of sustained cold and snow. Some people do like the cold and snow. A lot of people don't and are happy with the pattern, but some snow fans out there would like to see some winter weather, and so we're asking about February, so we're going to talk about that coming up towards the end of the video. All right, today was a decent January day, and I say decent because it wasn't as cold in the afternoon as a typical January day. Our average high is about 32 at this time of the year, but we topped out at about 37 before some sneaky little showers pushed in this afternoon. Bringing us some trace amounts of rain and dropping the temperature a few degrees, but I think the temperature will actually rise as we go through the overnight tonight, and a warm front lifts across eastern Ohio and western PA. Now, when I recorded this at 7:45, we had a couple of sprinkles or very light showers around. We actually have more substantial rain to our southwest. This is what's going to come in later on tonight. Cincinnati, Dayton getting wet right now, Wilmington, Ohio, Columbus about to get wet here at 7:46 this evening, and as you can see on our high-res futurecast here, the steady rain will arrive as we head past midnight here, although it disappears strangely on the model right there. Let's roll that forward and see if it reappears. That's kind of weird. Nonetheless, the rain will come back in a steady form. There it is. Later on tonight, and as you get up tomorrow morning, a lot of people heading back to work and school after a day off today. You will need the umbrella first thing tomorrow morning. Notice as you get up tomorrow morning, though, temperatures will be in the mid-40s. It's going to be a balmy start. And as we get into the afternoon, look what happens to the temperature. I mean, mid-50s. The record tomorrow is 58. We'll be within a few of that. That record set back in 1952. We've got a forecast high of 55 officially tomorrow. Now, even though the steadiest of the rain tomorrow will be first thing in the morning, I think there could be a couple of showers or some patches of drizzle as we get into the afternoon, into the evening, and into the overnight as well. But it's going to stay mild. Temperatures tomorrow night not dropping much lower than 37, 38 degrees. And then on Wednesday, even though you don't see much in the model here, I think there'll be a bank of low clouds around, and there could be a touch of drizzle or some very light rain falling out of those clouds from time to time on Wednesday before the sky tries to clear Wednesday night. Rainfall amounts for tonight, tomorrow, into tomorrow night will probably average about a half an inch. Our modeling's pretty well clustered around a half an inch. Could someone get 2/3 or even 3/4 of an inch? That's a possibility, but I think as a good average, a half an inch is what we can expect through tomorrow night. Now, again, Wednesday, I don't think it's going to do a lot, but a pretty good chance of seeing at least a little bit of rain out there, a lot of clouds around. And Thursday, this is what we call a dirty high. Nothing salacious about it, but usually you associate high pressure with a clear sky, pristine weather, really nice, but Thursday, I think there can be some sun, but there's going to be some clouds around, and there might be some fog across parts of the region Thursday morning as well. So not exactly a bright and sunny, beautiful day, but temperatures will still get into the middle and upper 40s on Thursday, even with just a few intervals of sun. All right, real quick medium range look here. This is Friday's weather map showing low pressure across the Cincinnati area, warm front, and I think it's going to rain on Friday for a good chunk of the day. As we get into the weekend, here's Saturday, and what we have going on here is a frontal boundary, which will kind of stall somewhere around the region, and there could be a little bit of shower activity along that. I don't think there's much. And chances are we're going to bust into the warm sector over the weekend and get into the 50s again, Saturday and into Sunday as well. When we talk temperatures here in the medium range, again, we're about 11, maybe 12 days away from any sort of substantial pattern change. I think we're going to be well above average, with the exception of that cooler day on Wednesday. We're going to be well above average through early next week. Keeping in mind, again, average is about 32 for a high at this time of the year. And then as we go towards the end of January, we've been talking about this for a while, that a pattern change seems likely, at least the beginnings of a pattern change, back to more typical winter weather as we go towards that last handful of days of January, and that likely continues into February. So let's talk February. Based on a lot of the modeling, which has actually been pretty consistent lately with February as a whole, The overall idea being that it's going to be a colder month than January and more of a typical winter month than this month will turn out to be, and more of a month that kind of like December was. December ended up being a little below average and above average snowfall wise. And I think February could be like that as well. We've been talking about this bookend idea: cold and snowy start to winter, cold and snowy end to meteorological winter, with January in between being pretty mild and snow free. So that's the way February looks right now. Now, can there be some warm days? Sure. You know, when we show these maps, it doesn't mean every single day in the month is going to be cold. But when you average it all out at the end of the month, it should end up being a somewhat colder than average February. Good news for people whose livelihood depends on some winter weather, those who like the snow. Maybe not so good news for people who aren't huge fans of winter weather here in eastern Ohio and western PA. What happens beyond February still remains to be seen, and if you know, if you're a real weather nut and pay attention to some of the scuttlebutt out there, there's some scuttlebutt that El Nino may be coming back later this year. That might have implications for next winter. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. Of course, the last time we had an El Nino was last year. It was a raging, strong El Nino. We had a very warm winter. Odds don't favor next year, if there is an El Nino, it being that strong, but nonetheless, that's on the table, that we go back to an El Nino after a very, very weak La Nina for this winter. Thanks for watching tonight's weather for Weather Geeks. I'll see you tonight on 21 News at 11, and I hope you have a great